Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Biology School. This is our new lecture on types of cell and its function. We know cells are the functional and structural unit of organism. We need to know about the types of cells and its function. So in this lecture, actually we will discuss on different types of cells and its function. At first, types of cell. Cells are similar to factories of different laborers and departments that work towards a common objective. Various types of cells perform different functions. Based on cellular structure, there are two types of cells. One is prokaryotes and another is eukaryotes. Now we will discuss about prokaryote cells. Prokaryotic cells have no uniform nucleus. Instead, some prokaryotes, such as bacteria, have a region within the cell where the genetic material is freely suspended. This region is called the nucleoid. They all are single-celled microorganisms. Examples include bacteria, archaea, and cyanobacteria. They contain a single cell. The cell size ranges from 0.1 to 0.5 micrometer in diameter. The heredity material can either be deoxyribonucleic acid or ribonucleic acid. Prokaryotes generally reproduce by binary fission. It is one kind of asexual reproduction. They are also known as conjunction. Among the prokaryotes, as an example, we will discuss about the bacteria. Bacteria are single cell organisms that are pretty much everywhere in the ground, in the ocean, on your hands, and in your gut. While some are harmful and most are not, and some are even beneficial to human health. In many cases, human live in symbiosis with bacteria, maintaining a mutually beneficial relationship with even knowing it. Bacteria are single-celled organisms with a unique internal structure. Humans and other multicellular organisms are eukaryotes, which means our cells have distinct nuclei bound with a membrane. Bacteria are prokaryotes, meaning they don't have organized nuclei or any other membrane bound organelles. Bacterial DNA floats freely within bacterial cells in a twisted thread-like mass called the nucleoid. Some also have separate, circular pieces of DNA called plasmid. According to the Microbiology Society, plasmid often contains genes that give bacteria a survival edge, such as genes conveying antibiotic resistance. The cytoplasm of some bacteria may also have little pockets called inclusion, where nutrients are stored for times. The cytoplasm of some bacteria may also have little pockets called inclusions, where nutrients are stored for lean times. Photosynthetic bacteria, which generate energy from sunlight, may have a structure called chromatophores spread throughout their cytoplasm. These chromatophores hold pigment used in photosynthesis. Bacteria come in five basic shapes: spherical, cylindrical, comma shaped, corkscrew, and spiral. The scientific names for these shapes are cocci, bacilli, fibrous, spirosets, and spirilla. The shapes and configurations of bacteria are often reflected in their names. For example, the milk curdling Lactobacillus acidophilus are bacilli, and pneumonia causing Streptococcus pneumonia are a chain of cocci. Now we will discuss about eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotic cells are characteristic by a true nucleus. The size of the cells ranges between 10 to 100 micrometer in diameter. Present plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is responsible for monitoring the transport of nutrients and electrolytes in and out of the cells. It is also responsible for cell-to-cell communication. Eukaryotic cells reproduce sexually as well as asexually. There are some contrasting features between plant and animal cells. Both are eukaryotic cells. For example, the plant cell contains chloroplast, central vacuoles, and other plastids, whereas the animal cells do not. As an example of eukaryotic cell, we will discuss about plant cell and animal cell in brief. At first, plant cell. Within eukaryotic cells, we can distinguish different types. The plant cell is a type of eukaryotic cell that forms the plant tissue of organism from the kingdom Plantae. The main function of the plant cell is photosynthesis, a chemical process in which plants use light energy to synthesize organic substances and then release oxygen. Unlike the animal cells, plant cells consist of cell wall, which gives them rigidity and shape, and chloroplasts, which are used to carry out photosynthesis. Let us a closer look at some other main features of these cells. The plant cells has few similarities with the animal cell. For example, both are eukaryotic cells, have a differentiated nucleus, contain genetic heredity information as a DNA, a membrane and a cytoplasm. Plant organisms require support from the central vacuole which fills with water to create soiling and firmness. In many plant cells, the central vacuole is so large that it occupies almost the entire space of the cell, pushing and squeezing the other components toward the cell membrane. They are also characterized by containing chloroplast with chlorophyll, pigments that capture sunlight to perform photosynthesis. They also give plants the green color. They have glyoxysomes, one kind of vesicles that are useful in germination to obtain carbohydrates from the fats in the seeds. Since they have a cell wall made of cellulose, they need plasmodesmata to communicate between the cells. Now we will discuss about in short of animal cell. The animal cells is a type of eukaryotic cells that forms the tissue of animals. It is responsible for the function of nutrition and reproduction. As mentioned earlier, both the animal cells and the plant cell have defined nucleus. They differ in that they do not have the same organelles and serve different needs. Animal cells are characterized by the fact that do not have the cell wall, which allows them to take on different forms. They are found in animals and humans. The vacuole of the animal cell is very numerous and tiny, unlike that of plant cells. The vacuoles store food and nutrients needed for the plant to survive. Each animal cell consists of three important parts: the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, and the nucleus, which in turn consist of other parts that are vital for the cell to perform their function. These cells can differentiate, is an example, specialize in particular function, epithelial cells, bone cells, etc. The animal cells also does not have a cellular cell wall that is found in plant cell. This structure is located on the outside of a plant cell and provides it with additional protection against water loss and external attacks. This cell wall you will not find in animal cell. Animal cells also do not have chloroplast, and for this they don't able to produce own food. So it is the short brief about eukaryotic cells to the example of animal and plant cell. In the next lecture, we will discuss in details about these types of cells. Now, in briefly, we will discuss about the function of the cell, structure and support. You know, a house is made of bricks. Similarly, an organism is made up of cells. Though there are certain cells such as collenchyma and sclerenchyma are present for offering structural support, however, in general too, all cells generally provide the structural basis of all organisms. Growth. In complex organisms such as humans, the tissues grow by simple multiplication of cells. Hence, cells are responsible for the growth of the organism. The entire things take place via a process of mitosis. Transport. Cells import the nutrients that are used in the different chemical process which take place inside them. As a result of this process, a waste product is produced. Cells then work to get rid of this waste. In this manner, the small molecules like such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, and ethanol pass through the cell membrane by diffusion. This method is known as passive transport. On the other hand, the larger molecules like the proteins and polysaccharides go in and out of the cell by active transport. The another function is energy production. Organisms need energy to perform different chemical reactions. In plants, the energy comes from the process of photosynthesis, while in the animals, the energy comes via respiration, and the mechanism is held within the cell. Metabolism. The cell is responsible for metabolism that includes all the chemical reactions that take place inside an organism to keep it alive. And reproduction, a cell helps in reproduction by the process of mitosis and meiosis. And this is all about in this lecture. For the lecture, we take the cell support from Campbell Biology, that is the main syllabus of our overall cell biology course. The from Raven Biology, the Khan Academy, Science Direct Journal, Bezos, and also from biologyschool.net. So thank you very much in this lecture. See you later for next lecture.